Hey guys, tonight we're stepping into the unnerving silence of a place that should be full of noise. We're going to a high school, not during a bustling school day, but in the minutes after a chilling phone call has emptied its halls, leaving behind only the echo of a threat and the quiet, determined panting of a dog, whose nose is the only thing standing between a community and catastrophe. Imagine the rows of lockers, the abandoned backpacks, the happy-end lunches in the cafeteria, all frozen in time, waiting for something to happen. It's a story that proves the most effective heroes sometimes walk on four legs, and that the greatest dangers often come from the quietest corners. This one gets tense, so you probably shouldn't be listening to this alone. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And when you have a second, drop a comment with your city or country and what time it is where you are. I love seeing where you're all listening from. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The clock on the wall of the Northwood High School main office reads 9:14 a.m. Brenda, the school secretary for 27 years, is nursing her second cup of coffee. The one she always says she doesn't need, but definitely does. It's a Tuesday. The morning announcements have just finished, a rambling mass of bake sale promotions and football practice reminders. The phone rings, but it's not the main line with its cheerful chirping tone. It's the old attendance line, a relic from a pre-digital era that now only ever rings with wrong numbers or telemarketers who bought an ancient list. She almost lets it go to the dusty old answering machine. Almost. With a sigh, she picks it up. Northwood High. The voice on the other end is not human. It's synthesized, monotone drone, the kind you hear on GPS apps from a decade ago. It's flat, devoid of emotion, and that makes its message even more terrifying. There is a bomb in your school, it says, each word perfectly spaced, unnaturally calm. It will detonate at noon. Do not try to be heroes. A click, and then dead air. Brenda's hand is still holding the receiver to her ear. The silence that follows is somehow louder than the voice itself. For a full 3 seconds, her brain refuses to process the words. It's a prank. It has to be a prank. Kids these days with their apps and their soundboards. But then the second part of the message hits her. Do not try to be heroes. It's a line from a movie, a cliche. But the cold robotic delivery strips away any melodrama, leaving only a core of pure menace. Her knuckles are white on the phone, her coffee forgotten. She doesn't scream. She doesn't panic. She just very, very carefully places the receiver back in its cradle, takes one deep, shaky breath, and presses the silent alarm button under her desk that connects directly to the local police precinct. Then she stands up and pulls the fire alarm. Outside, on a quiet suburban street 3 miles away, Officer Dave Miller is finishing his paperwork in his patrol car. In the custom-fitted backseat, his partner, Max, a 7-year-old Belgian Malinois with fur the color of burnt caramel and eyes that miss nothing, lets out a low groan of boredom. Miller is a K-9 handler, a title that doesn't quite capture the reality of his job. He's part dog whisperer, part bomb technician's assistant, part cop. He's 48, with more gray in his hair than he likes to admit, and the weariness in his bones that comes from 2 decades of seeing the worst of people. But when he looks in the rear-view mirror and sees Max's ears perk up, that weariness fades. The radio crackles to life, the dispatcher's voice urgent and clear, cutting through the morning calm. All units, code red at Northwood High School, reported bomb threat, evacuation in progress. K-9 unit requested on scene. Miller's heart rate doesn't spike. It just settles into a low, steady thrum of pure focus. He kills the engine, gets out, and opens the back door. All right, buddy, time to go to work. Max needs no encouragement. He hops out, his body a coiled spring of muscle and training. He is not a pet. He is a specialized detection tool with a heartbeat, and his nose is capable of identifying microscopic traces of 24 different explosive compounds. As Miller fastens Max's tactical vest, emblazoned with the word police, he feels the familiar weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. This call could be a hoax. 99% of them are, but you don't get to treat it like one. The law certainly doesn't. Making a threat of mass violence on school property is a first-degree felony. In this state, it's not just a prank, it's an act of terror, legally speaking, designed to cause widespread fear and disrupt a public institution. Arriving at the school, they find controlled chaos. Students and staff are huddled on the field track, a sea of confused and anxious faces. The principal, a man named Henderson, is trying to be authoritative, but his face is pale, his hands shaky. He rushes over to Miller. "They said noon," he stammers. "The call came in just after 9. A detective plays a recording of the call from his phone. Miller listens intently to the robotic voice. It's generic, untraceable, but then he hears it. Behind the synthesized words, there's another sound, a faint, rhythmic clicking. Click, 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 click. It's almost too quiet to notice. "What is that?" Miller asks. The detective shrugs. "Line noise? Static? Who knows? Probably nothing." An odd detail filed away and immediately dismissed. It's a tiny, insignificant loose thread in a tapestry of fear. As he prepares to take Max inside, he can't help but think about the ongoing debate that rages in courtrooms and legal journals. How do you distinguish between a troubled teen's cry for help and a genuine precursor to violence? Experts still argue whether the legal system should focus on the intent of the caller or the sheer impact of the act, the terror, the cost of the response, the trauma inflicted on hundreds of kids who will now forever associate the sound of a fire alarm with a feeling of dread. There's no easy answer. Miller pushes that thought aside. His job isn't to debate legal theory. His job is to find the bomb, or more accurately, to let Max find it. He and Max stand before the main entrance. The school is eerily silent now. Through the glass, he can see a large banner hanging in the main hall. In bright, cheerful letters, it reads, "Northwood High, a safe place for a bright future." The irony is so thick it's almost suffocating. He kneels down, looks his partner in the eyes, and gives him the familiar command. "Seek," he says softly. With a jingle of his collar, Max crosses the threshold, his nose already to the ground, and they disappear into the silent, waiting school. The heavy glass door swings shut behind you, and the chaotic symphony of sirens and anxious chatter from the football field is instantly cut off, replaced by a profound, humming silence. It's the sound of a building holding its breath. You are in the main artery of Northwood High. A long, polished linoleum hallway stretches before you, lined with rows of identical blue lockers. Sunlight streams through the high windows, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. For a moment, it's almost peaceful. But it's a false peace, the kind that precedes a storm. Max, your partner, doesn't see the peace. He only sees the mission. His nose is already twitching, sampling the air, dissecting every scent particle into a library of known and unknown compounds. Floor wax, disinfectant, stale pizza from the cafeteria, teenage angst, and hopefully not, the acrid, distinctive odor of explosive chemicals. You begin to sweep. It's a methodical, painstakingly slow process you've drilled 1,000 times. Left side of the hallway, then right. You stay a few feet behind Max, giving him space to work, your eyes scanning for anything out of place. A bag left behind, a locker door slightly ajar, wires where they shouldn't be. Your job is to spot the obvious. His is to find the invisible. The only sounds are the soft squeak of your boots on the floor and the quiet jingle of Max's tags, a sound that has become the soundtrack to the most stressful moments of your life. Every few yards, you give him a quiet word of encouragement. Good boy, seek. You pass a history classroom. The door is open. On the whiteboard, a half-erased timeline of the Civil War. A backpack lies on the floor next to a desk, a pair of headphones spilling out of an open pocket. It's a snapshot of a moment interrupted, a modern-day Pompeii. You have the legal right to search that bag. In a bomb threat scenario, the landmark Supreme Court case New Jersey versus TLO, which established the reasonable suspicion standard for school searches, is blown wide open. Probable cause, reasonable suspicion, all of it gives way to exigent circumstances. The school, in this moment, has zero expectation of privacy. Still, the thought of rifling through some kid's personal life feels like a small, necessary violation. Experts still debate where the line is drawn in these situations, but for you, right now, the only line that matters is the one between life and death. Halfway down the hall, you see it. It's so out of place that your brain takes a second to register it. A single red balloon, bright and glossy, tied to the handle of locker 1138. It bobs gently in the still air, a festive, cheerful object in a place of dread. It's an incredibly odd detail. A birthday, a prank, or a marker. Your training screams that anything out of the ordinary is a potential threat. You halt Max with a quiet command. He sits, obedient, his eyes fixed on you, waiting. You approach the locker cautiously. You examine the string, the handle, the seams of the door. Nothing. No wires, no trip mechanism. You gesture for Max to approach. He sniffs the base of the locker, the balloon, the air around it. His tail gives a lazy, disinterested wag. Nothing. No chemical trace. It's just a balloon, but it's a balloon that has no business being there, and the strangeness of it puts you on edge. It feels like a taunt. You radio the command post outside, your voice low and even. Main hall, first floor. Found a marker on locker 1138. Max is not alerting, but I want it opened, sending a photo. You snap a picture with your department-issued phone. The answer comes back instantly. Copy that. Principal is sending someone with a master key to the perimeter. Do not approach until we clear it visually with the bot. You don't wait. There's no time. You have a whole school to clear. You and Max continue the sweep, moving past the offices, the guiding counselor suite, a place full of its own quiet explosions. Your mind drifts to one of the most chilling aspects of bomb disposal, the secondary device. It's a brutally effective tactic. The first bomb, sometimes smaller, is designed to draw in first responders. The second, larger and more lethal, is timed to detonate after they've arrived. It's a strategy that turns rescuers into victims. It was used in the 1996 Olympic Park bombing, a real and horrific event that changed police protocols forever. Every cop and firefighter here today has that possibility lodged in the back of their mind. You're not just looking for a bomb, you're looking for bombs. You clear the first floor. Nothing. You and Max move up the stairs to the second level. More classrooms, more lockers, and more unnerving silence. The science labs. You feel a knot tighten in your stomach. A chemistry lab is a candy store for a would-be bomber. Acids, oxidizers, volatile compounds, all legally stored and easily accessible. Max seems to feel it too. He becomes more animated as you approach room 212, the advanced chemistry lab. His sniffing becomes more intense, his tail straight and rigid. This is it. You put your hand on your radio, ready to call it in. Max shoves his nose against the door, inhaling deeply. He lets out a loud, explosive sneeze and then looks back at you, almost embarrassed. You can smell it now, a faint, sharp odor of acidic acid. Vinegar. Some kid probably spilled it during a morning experiment. It's a false alarm, a jolt of adrenaline with no payoff. You check your watch, 10:48 a.m. You've been inside for over an hour. You've cleared 2 floors. The gym, the cafeteria, and the auditorium are all that's left. The lack of a discovery is terrifying. A hoax is the best case scenario, but until noon passes, you have to assume the worst. What if you missed it? What if Max, as brilliant as he is, had an off day? Your faith in your partner is absolute, but the seed of doubt is a corrosive thing. You push open the heavy double doors to the gymnasium. The sound echoes in the cavernous space. The room is vast and empty. Retracted bleachers line the walls. A single basketball sits motionless in the center of the polished floor, directly under the scoreboard, which is dark. The emptiness of the gym is somehow more menacing than the cluttered hallways. There are 1,000 places to hide something here. In the bleachers, in the locker rooms, in the equipment storage. You look at Max. His ears are forward, his body tense. He's ready. You take a deep breath, the air tasting of sweat and rubber. Seek, you say again, your voice swallowed by the immense space. And the final, most critical part of the search begins. You and Max begin your sweep of the gymnasium, your footsteps echoing like gunshots in the empty arena. The space feels too big, too open. The standard search pattern, a grid, feels inadequate. You decide to start with the perimeter, working your way inward. First, the coach's offices. They're messy, cluttered with playbooks, old trophies, and the lingering scent of stale coffee. Max gives them a cursory sniff and moves on, his focus absolute. Next, the locker rooms. Rows of metal lockers, damp towels still on the benches, the air thick with the smell of soap and mildew. It's a sensory minefield, but Max's nose is a precision instrument, filtering out the background noise. He moves through the rows, his nose low to the ground, a silent, furry sentinel. He shows no interest. He's telling you the threat isn't here. You trust him. That trust is the core of your partnership, a bond forged over 3 years of relentless training and dozens of real-world calls. From day one, you learn that a K-9 handler doesn't command. He interprets. Max isn't a machine you operate. He's a partner who communicates in a language of posture, tail wags, and sniffs. Still, the thought of the ticking clock, it's now 11:15 a.m., is a constant nagging pressure in the back of your mind. You move to the bleachers. This is the part you were dreading. They are massive, retractable structures full of dark, hidden spaces, metal girders, and complex machinery. It's a perfect hiding spot. You give Max the command to search, and he dives into the darkness beneath the stands without hesitation. You follow, your flashlight beam cutting through the gloom, illuminating dust bunnies the size of small animals and decades of forgotten litter. Gum wrappers, old popcorn boxes, a single sad-looking sneaker. It's a cross-base of teenage memories. Max works his way through the labyrinth of steel supports, his breathing the only sound besides your own. 5 minutes pass. 10. He emerges from the other side, dusty but indicating nothing. Frustration begins to bubble in your chest. This is taking too long. If there's a bomb in here, you're running out of time to find it. You glance at the big, empty basketball court, at the lone basketball still sitting in the center circle. It's so perfectly placed, it feels like a stage prop. Your eyes drift up to the scoreboard hanging high above it. It's dark, inert, but it's one of the few places you haven't searched. How could anyone even get up there? As if reading your thoughts, Max suddenly stops. He's standing on the edge of the basketball court, about 20 feet from the bleachers, his body perfectly still. His head is cocked, but not towards the scoreboard. He's staring intently at a small, unassuming door set into the wall under the home team's basket. It's a maintenance closet, probably full of floor buffers and cleaning supplies. You've walked past it twice. Max hasn't. He takes a hesitant step towards it, then another. His tail, usually a barometer of his mood, is now ramrod straight. He whines, a low, urgent sound that makes the hair on your arms stand up. This isn't the excited bark of a find. It's a sound of deep-seated agitation. He's getting close. "Good boy, Max," you whisper, your voice tight. "Show me." Max walks to the door and sits. This is his signal. It's the moment you train for over and over again until it's pure muscle memory for both of you. A passive alert. He doesn't scratch, he doesn't bark, he just sits, perfectly still, his nose pointed at the source. He will not move from that spot until you release him. It's an unmistakable, silent declaration. The thing you are looking for is in here. Your heart hammers against your ribs. You key your radio. "Command, this is Miller. I have an alert. I repeat, I have a K-9 alert." Your voice is calm, but the adrenaline is a flood of ice in your veins. Location is the main gymnasium north wall, small maintenance closet under the basket. The radio crackles back instantly. "Copy, Miller, all units, K-9 has a positive alert. Bomb squad is en route to your location. Evacuate the immediate area. I repeat, evacuate. You don't need to be told twice, but first you need to reward your partner. This is a critical part of the process, reinforcing the behavior. You reach into your tactical vest and pull out his favorite toy, a beat-up rubber ball on a rope. Good boy, you say, your voice full of praise. Max breaks his alert, his eyes lighting up as he leaps for the toy. For 30 seconds, you let him be a dog, tugging and playing, his focus shifted from explosives to the game. It's a bizarre, surreal moment of normalcy in the face of potential catastrophe. It's also a real, documented psychological technique used by K-9 handlers to de-stress the dog after a find, preventing burnout and anxiety. You lead Max away, back towards the gym entrance, putting as much distance as you can between you and that door. From a safe distance, you watch as the bomb squad's robot, a tracked vehicle with a sophisticated arm, rolls into the gym. The robot's camera gives the team outside a clear view. They use a small explosive charge to breach the closet door. It's a loud crack that echoes through the gym. Inside the closet, sitting on a shelf next to a gallon of floor stripper, is a shoebox, wire sticking out of it, taped to a large battery and a cheap-looking kitchen timer. The timer is digital, and its red numbers are counting down, 00, 23, 14. It's crude, almost laughably so, but the block of gray, putty-like material it's attached to looks sickeningly real. The bomb tech confirms it. It's C4, enough to bring down the entire roof of the gym. An odd detail surfaces as the bomb tech disarms the device. Tucked under the C4 is a folded piece of paper. The robot's gripper carefully retrieves it. On it, in neat block letters, are two words: nice try. It's a message. It's a taunt. And it raises a chilling question, one that legal scholars and law enforcement tacticians continue to debate. When a bomber communicates with law enforcement during an active event, is it a sign of desperation, a mistake that gives away valuable psychological information, or is it a display of confidence, an act of psychological warfare designed to unnerve and mislead? There's no consensus, but as you stand there watching the robot work, you have a terrible, sinking feeling that this isn't over. The clock on the wall says 11:42 a.m. The bomber said noon. You found the bomb, but was it the bomb?
The bomb squad technician, a guy named Garcia you've known for years, gives the all clear over the radio. Device is disarmed, it's stable, we're moving it for disposal. A collective sigh of relief ripples through the command post, audible even over the crackle of the radio. The principal starts talking about letting the kids back in to get their things. The fire chief is already planning the press conference. On the surface, it's a victory, a tragedy averted. You and Max are the heroes of the hour. But as you stand at the entrance of the gym, the acrid smell of the breaching charge still hanging in the air, you can't shake the feeling of profound unease. The note, nice try, is a discordant string in a symphony that was supposed to be over. It's arrogant, it's mocking. It doesn't fit the profile of a typical school bomber who is usually driven by desperation, revenge, or a desperate need for attention. This feels different, colder, more calculated. You walk back over to Garcia, who is carefully packing the disarmed device into a blast-proof container. "What do you think, Rick?" you ask, keeping your voice low. Garcia wipes a bead of sweat from his forehead. "It's a weird one, Dave. The C4 is military grade, real deal. But the trigger mechanism, it's a joke. A kitchen timer from a dollar store. The wiring is sloppy, amateurish. It's like two different people built it." He points to the timer. And this thing, it wasn't even wired to the detonator correctly. Even if the timer had hit 0, it wouldn't have gone off. It was a dud. A dud. The word hangs in the air between you. A bomb that was never meant to explode. Your mind immediately flashes to that red balloon tied to the locker, the taunt, the strange mismatched components. This isn't just a bomb threat anymore, it's a game, and you're the players. This is a classic diversionary tactic, a page right out of a criminal mastermind's playbook, but you rarely see it executed in real life. It's a high-risk, high-reward strategy. In 2003, a real-life case known as the collar bomb incident involved a pizza delivery man, Brian Wells, who robbed the bank with a bomb locked around his neck. The investigation revealed a complex web of co-conspirators who had designed an elaborate multi-stage plot full of misdirection and false clues. It was a case that baffled the FBI for years. This situation at the high school is starting to have that same convoluted, nightmarish feel. It's a deliberate attempt to manipulate the investigation. You pull out your phone and look at the picture you took of the red balloon on locker 1138. Then you think of the robotic voice on the phone call and the faint rhythmic clicking noise in the background. Click, 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 click. It was dismissed as line noise, but what if it wasn't? What if it was a clue? Your brain is spinning, trying to connect the dots. A dud bomb in the gym, a balloon on a locker, a synthesized voice. What is the connection? The call said noon, you say to Garcia, more to yourself than to him. This thing was found at 11:20 and disarmed by 11:45. That leaves 15 minutes. What if this was never the main event? What if this was just the opening act? Garcia's face darkens. He understands. The secondary device, but not in the traditional sense. Not a second bomb meant to kill the first responders. This would be something far more insidious. A decoy designed to create a false sense of security, to make everyone declare the scene safe so the real bomb could do its work unnoticed. It's a horrifying thought. It's also a theory that would get you laughed out of the room right now. Everyone wants this to be over. They have their tidy narrative, threat made, bomb found, hero dog saves the day. Pushing this new, unsubstantiated theory would make you look paranoid. This brings up a fiercely debated topic in law enforcement circles, the problem of confirmation bias in high-stakes investigations. Experts still argue about the point at which a lead investigator's gut feelings should override established protocol. Do you follow the evidence you have, which points to a neutralized threat, or do you follow the nagging instinct that the evidence itself is a lie? Pushing a counter-narrative without hard proof can derail an investigation and ruin a career, but ignoring it could be catastrophic. You look down at Max. He's sitting patiently by your side, panting softly. He's done his job. He found the explosives. He gave his alert. By all rights, he should be done for the day. But something is wrong. He's not relaxed. His ears are still swiveling. His body is still tense. He keeps glancing back towards the main school building, then looking up at you, a low whine rumbling in his chest. He's trying to tell you something. He's agitated. And it's not the post-fine jitters. It's the same unease you feel. But in him, it's a pure, unfiltered instinct. He knows the sense of danger is still lingering in this school. You make a decision. It's a risk, but you have to take it. You key your radio again, interrupting the cheerful chatter about wrapping things up. Command, this is Miller. I am not convinced the scene is clear. The device was a dud. It was a decoy. I believe there is a second device in the school. Silence on the other end. You can almost hear the gears turning, the annoyance, the disbelief. The shift commander's voice comes back, strained with impatience. Miller, on what basis are you making that claim? The bomb squad has cleared the device. You look at Max, who is now standing, his body rigid, staring intently towards the academic wing. My basis is that my dog isn't satisfied, and neither am I. We're going back in. Without waiting for a response, you turn your back on the gym and head for the main building, Max trotting purposefully ahead of you. You don't know what you're looking for, but you know you haven't found it yet. The clock on your phone reads 11:51 a.m. 9 minutes to noon. You re-enter the main building, and the silence you found so unnerving before now feels actively hostile. It's the silence of a trap that's been set and is waiting to be sprung. Max is no longer in search mode. He's in pursuit mode. He's pulling on the leash, his nose high in the air now, tasting the currents rather than sniffing the ground. This is a different kind of tracking. He's not looking for a static object. He's following a lingering trail, a ghost of a scent that's being carried on the school's ventilation system. You let him lead. He bypasses the main hallway, ignoring the classrooms and the locker with the red balloon, a detail that now seems like a childish, mocking piece of stagecraft. He pulls you up the main staircase to the second floor, his claws clicking urgently on the linoleum. Your radio is buzzing with activity. The shift commander is demanding an explanation. The detectives are questioning your judgment. You ignore it all. Your world has shrunk to the 10-foot circle around you and your partner. You are a two-man army on a mission nobody else believes in. Max leads you down the second-floor corridor, past the science labs you cleared less than an hour ago. He's moving with a certainty that borders on frantic.
He's not just agitated anymore, he's desperate. He's telling you in the only language he knows that you are running out of time. The clock on your phone flips to 11:56 a.m., 4 minutes to noon. He stops abruptly in front of the school library. The heavy double doors are closed. Max shoves his nose into the gap at the bottom of the doors, inhaling in loud, sharp snorts. Then he looks back at you, his eyes wide, and lets out a single sharp bark. It's not his passive alert sit. This is different. This is an alarm. This is a scream. Your blood runs cold. The library. It's the one place you didn't prioritize. It's a huge open room with thousands of books, an absorbent material that would make it incredibly difficult for a scent to travel. It would be a terrible place to search, which makes it a perfect place to hide something. The bomber knew that. You don't have a key. You don't have time for a breaching charge. You slam your shoulder against the door. It doesn't budge. You do it again, putting all your weight into it. The wood groans. On the third try, the lock gives way with a sickening crack of splintering wood, and the doors fly open. The library is a cathedral of silence. Sunlight streams through the tall windows, illuminating rows upon rows of bookshelves. In the center of the room, there's a large circular reference desk. Nothing seems out of place. It's pristine. It's quiet. Too quiet. Max charges into the room, pulling you with him. He doesn't go to the shelves. He doesn't go to the study carrels. He runs straight for the reference desk. He leaps onto the counter, a move he is explicitly trained not to do, scattering papers and sending a cupful of pens clattering to the floor. He shoves his nose into the side of the librarian's computer monitor, whining, frantic. You look at the computer. It's a standard-issue desktop PC. It's on, the screen displaying the library's checkout software. It's completely unremarkable, but Max is insistent. He's pawing at the side of the CPU tower, which is tucked away on the floor under the desk. You drop to your knees. Your flashlight beam finds the hulking black box of the computer. Taped to the side of the metal casing, almost perfectly concealed in the shadows, is a device. It's small, sleek, and utterly professional. There are no clumsy wires, no cheap kitchen timer. This one is sophisticated. A small block of plastic explosive, Semtex you guess, is attached to a circuit board with a cellular receiver. A cell phone bomb. The oldest trick in the book, updated for the 21st century. It can be detonated from anywhere in the world with a simple phone call. And nestled in the center of the circuit board is a small digital display. It's not counting down. It's displaying the current time, 11:58:30 a.m. The bomber wasn't using a timer. He was using a clock. He wasn't waiting for a countdown to end. He was waiting for a specific moment to arrive. Noon. Your heart feels like it's going to beat its way out of your chest. You have less than 90 seconds. You don't have time to call the bomb squad. You don't have time to evacuate. It's just you, Max, and the bomb. This situation is a handler's absolute worst nightmare, and it raises a contentious legal and ethical debate. Under what circumstances is a police officer authorized to attempt to disarm an explosive device without EOD support? The answer is almost never. It's a massive liability and a violation of every protocol. But protocols are written for situations where you have time. You don't. You make a choice. It's not even a choice, really. It's an instinct. You see a pair of scissors on the desk, the kind used for arts and crafts. You grab them. You can see the two thin wires leading from the circuit board to the blasting cap embedded in the Semtex, a red one and the black one. The classic movie trope dilemma. But this is real life. Cutting the wrong wire could complete the circuit. Cutting the right one, well, you hope it disarms the device. You remember something Garcia told you once. In many simple circuits, the black wire is ground, the red one is power. Sever the power. You take a deep, shuddering breath. Max is whining, sensing your panic. You have to be steady. Your hand is shaking. 50 seconds. You position the blades of the scissors around the red wire. You can't think about your family. You can't think about the consequences. You can only think about the wire. Click, 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 click. The sound from the phone call, it flashes in your mind. It's not line noise. It's the sound of a computer's hard drive, the rhythmic tick of the reading arm. The bomber made the call from a computer, an odd, seemingly insignificant detail, but it's there. 30 seconds. You squeeze the scissors. The plastic insulation on the wire gives way, and with a small snip, the red wire is severed. Nothing happens. The small digital display on the circuit board goes dark. The bomb is dead. You fall back against the desk, gasping for air, the cheap plastic scissors clattering to the floor. You look at your phone. The time is 11:59:48. You had 12 seconds to spare. Max licks your face, his frantic energy replaced with relief. He knew. He knew all along. He ignored the decoy, ignored the all clear, and led you straight to the heart of the threat. The hero dog didn't just find the bomb. He found the right bomb. And in doing so, he saved everyone. Now the game changes. This isn't just about a threat anymore. It's about a deliberate, sophisticated attempt at mass murder. And the bomber left something behind. Not a note this time, a clue. On the dusty side of the CPU tower, right where the bomb was taped, is a single, perfect fingerprint.
The aftermath is a whirlwind of controlled, forensic chaos. The library is no longer a quiet sanctuary. It's a high-priority crime scene swarming with federal agents and local detectives. The discovery of the second, viable bomb has changed everything. The prankish, almost casual tone of the initial threat has evaporated, leaving behind the cold, hard reality of a calculated murder attempt. You and Max are sequestered in a corner of the room, giving your statement to a steely-eyed FBI agent. Max, sensing the tension has broken, is calmly chewing on his reward toy, oblivious to the fact that he's the most important witness in the building. The fingerprint on the side of the computer tower is the linchpin of the investigation. It's a clean, beautiful print, left in a thin layer of dust. A rookie mistake from a pro, or a pro's mistake from a rookie? It's hard to tell. While the forensics team carefully lifts the print, another team is imaging the hard drive of the librarian's computer. They're looking for any digital breadcrumbs, malware, remote access logs, anything that could point to how the bomber might have gained control of the machine or scouted the location. This leads to a fascinating and complex area of criminal law, the fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine. It's a legal metaphor which holds that if the source of the evidence, the tree, is tainted, then anything gained from it, the fruit, is tainted as well and cannot be used in court. In this case, your warrantless, forced entry into the library could technically be seen as a tainted source. However, the legal principle of exigent circumstances, the immediate threat of the bomb, provides a powerful exception. Legal experts constantly debate the boundaries of this exception. Was your belief that a second bomb existed reasonable enough to justify the forced entry? The fact that you were right is your best defense, but in a courtroom, success doesn't always retroactively justify the means. It's a legal gray area that a sharp defense attorney would love to exploit. While the feds work the print, you keep replaying the clues in your head. The robotic voice, the decoy bomb with the taunting note, the red balloon, the sophisticated second device, and the clicking sound on the phone call. Click, 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 click. The sound of a hard drive. You mentioned it to the FBI agent who nodded politely, but seemed more interested in the physical evidence. To him, it's background noise. To you, it feels like a signature. An hour later, the first break comes. The fingerprint gets a hit in the system, but it's not in a criminal database. It's in the Civil Service Employee database. The print belongs to a man named Arthur Finch, a 28-year-old IT technician. His photo ID pops up on the agent's screen. He's thin, with mousy brown hair, glasses, and a weak, unassuming chin. He looks more like a guy who would get bullied than a guy who would build a bomb. The odd detail is his employment history. Arthur Finch was an IT contractor for the Northwood School District. His contract was terminated 6 months ago due to budget cuts. He had access to every part of the school. He knew the layout, the security protocols, the network infrastructure. He probably installed the very computer he planted the bomb on. Suddenly, the disparate pieces start to lock into place. The second break comes from the tech team analyzing the computer. They find traces of a remote access program, a Trojan horse hidden in a software update Finch himself had installed the year prior. He had a secret backdoor into the school's network. But here's the twist. The synthesized voice program used to make the call wasn't on the library computer. The call wasn't made from there. The bomber just used the computer's microphone to listen in, to enjoy the chaos he was creating. But in his arrogance, he forgot that the old mechanical hard drive of that specific computer made a distinct, audible clicking sound whenever it was accessed. He broadcast his own location signature sound without realizing it. The clue you heard was the sound of him spying on his own crime scene. The profile of the bomber begins to form. He's not a disgruntled student. He's a former employee with a god complex. He felt spurned, discarded by the very system he helped build and maintain. The first bomb wasn't just a decoy. It was a test of the police, of their methods, of their K-9 unit. The note, "Nice try," wasn't for the police in general. It was for you and Max specifically. He knew the school used a K-9 unit for sweeps. He designed the first bomb to be found, to make you feel like a hero, to make you drop your guard. The red balloon on locker 1138 takes on a new, sinister meaning. It wasn't a marker for a bomb. It was a psychological jab. The detectives run the locker number. It was assigned to a student named Emily Carter, the school's valedictorian and president of the robotics club. A quick check of her social media shows a photo of her from 2 weeks ago at a regional science fair accepting a first-place ribbon. Standing right behind her, smiling proudly, it's her club mentor and volunteer technical advisor, Arthur Finch. The balloon wasn't a random act. It was a symbol of his perceived betrayal, that the school celebrated the students he mentored but discarded him. Now they have him. They have his name, his face, his motive, and his methodology. He's not a ghost in the machine anymore. He's a man with a grudge and an address. As a convoy of unmarked cars prepares to roll out, the lead FBI agent walks over to you. Your dog didn't just find the bomb, Officer Miller. He psychoanalyzed the bomber. That whole thing with the library, Finch must have seen it as his domain, the hub of knowledge. He planted his masterpiece in the heart of his old kingdom. You look down at Max, who is now asleep at your feet. His work finally done. You didn't just follow a scent, you followed an ego. And now the police are on their way to confront the man who thought he could outsmart everyone, brought down by a fingerprint, a clicking hard drive, and the unwavering instinct of a hero dog's nose.
The arrest is anticlimactic, a quiet end to a day of roaring tension. Arthur Finch lives in a small, tidy apartment above a laundromat downtown. He doesn't fight, doesn't run. When the FBI agents breach his door, they find him sitting in front of a multi-monitor computer setup, a half-eaten bag of chips by his keyboard. He seems surprised, but not shocked, as if he knew this moment was inevitable but had hoped to postpone it a little longer. He's wearing the same bland, collared shirt from his employee ID photo. He is the ghost in the machine, and he looks utterly, disappointingly normal. His apartment is a treasure trove of evidence. On one screen, a live feed from the Trojan Horse program showing the now empty Northwood Library. He'd been watching the whole time. On another, the source code for the text-to-speech program he used. And in an open shoebox on his desk, a spool of red wire and a spool of black wire, identical to the ones on the bomb. It's a prosecutor's dream. The search of his digital files uncovers a manifesto of sorts, a long, rambling document detailing his grievances against the school district. He felt he was the invisible scaffolding that held the school together, unappreciated and unceremoniously discarded. He didn't want to just hurt people. He wanted to prove he was smarter than them. He wanted to orchestrate a crisis that only he could understand, to be the puppet master in a play of his own design. Back at the high school, the story is already becoming a legend. Max is no longer just a police dog, he's a local celebrity, the furry hero who saved Northwood High. News vans are camped out by the football field. The principal is giving interviews, praising the swift action of law enforcement. But beneath the relief, a current of unease lingers. The students, now reunited with their parents, look at their school differently. The place that was once a symbol of safety and routine is now a crime scene. The red balloon, the decoy bomb, these details leak out, painting a picture of a villain who wasn't just angry, but cunning and cruel. This case becomes a flashpoint for an ongoing debate in the field of criminology, the lone wolf versus leaky plotter theory. Experts still argue whether individuals like Finch, who act alone, truly leave no warning signs. Retrospectively, the signs are always there: his quiet resentment, his increasing isolation, his online posts about feeling unappreciated. But how can law enforcement possibly monitor all the quiet desperation in the world? Finch didn't leak his plans to a friend, he leaked his psychology through his actions. The decoy, the taunt, the choice of location, they were all breadcrumbs leading back to his own wounded ego. The legal system is built to punish actions, not mindsets, but cases like this challenge that boundary. One of the most chilling discoveries from Finch's hard drive is a folder of simulations. He had run dozens of scenarios, testing different police response times, different K-9 search patterns. He knew about you and Max. He knew your success rate. The first bomb wasn't just a decoy. It was specifically designed to be found by a dog. He used Max's greatest strength, his nose, against him. He banked on the idea that once a device was found, the search would be called off. He was counting on human nature, on our desire for a quick resolution. His only miscalculation was the bond between a handler and his partner, the unspoken communication that goes beyond training and protocols. He couldn't simulate instinct. He couldn't code for loyalty. In the days that follow, the community tries to find its way back to normal. The school board holds emergency meetings about security protocols. The police chief presents you and Max with a commendation for valor. You stand on a stage, Max sitting patiently by your side, as cameras flash and people applaud. It feels strange, being celebrated for a hoarder that almost happened. You're a hero, but you don't feel like one. You just feel tired. You look at Max, who is basking in the attention, his tail thumping against the stage, and you feel a surge of profound gratitude. He didn't just do his job, he did the impossible. Arthur Finch's trial is swift. With the mountain of evidence against him, his defense attorney has little to work with. He pleads guilty to multiple federal charges, including the use of a weapon of mass destruction and attempting to bomb a public institution, a real and severe charge under the Patriot Act that carries a sentence of up to life in prison. He remains silent and emotionless throughout the proceedings, a ghost to the very end. But for you, the story doesn't end with a gavel strike. It ends a few weeks later, on a quiet Saturday morning. You're at a park, throwing a tennis ball for Max. He's not a police dog right now. He's just a dog, chasing a ball with pure, unadulterated joy. A young girl, no older than 10, approaches you shyly. She recognizes Max from the news. "Is that the dog?" she asks, her voice barely a whisper. You nod. Can I pet him?" You give her the okay, and she kneels down, gently stroking Max's back. "Thank you for saving my brother's school," she says, looking up at you with wide, sincere eyes. In that moment, the weight of the past few weeks seems to lift. The legacy of that day isn't just the memory of fear. It's this. It's the quiet gratitude of a community that was pulled back from the brink, all because one good dog refused to believe the lie. The world, you find, does not stop for heroes or for villains. The headlines fade, the news cycle moves on, and the deep, unsettling ripples left by Arthur Finch's crime slowly begin to calm. The Northwood High School community carries the scar, of course, a shared trauma that will forever be a part of its history. But scars are also a sign of healing. The students return, the lockers slam, the morning announcements ramble on once more, and the rhythms of everyday life reassert their quiet, steady dominance over the memory of that one terrible Tuesday. Max receives a city medal and a lifetime supply of his favorite chew toys, settling back into his dual life as a highly trained officer and a couch-hogging companion with the same easy grace. For you, the event leaves a permanent mark, a heightened awareness of the thin veil between order and chaos, and a renewed, almost reverent respect for the silent, instinctive language of your partner. The case is closed, the bomber is behind bars, and the story concludes not with a bang, but with the gentle, reassuring silence of a crisis averted and a community made whole again. Thank you for joining me on this journey tonight. These stories are a reminder of the complexities of the human mind and the incredible, often unsung heroes who stand in the gap. If you found this story as compelling as I did, a like and a comment go a long way in helping this channel grow. Sharing it with someone who appreciates a deep dive into the strange and suspenseful would mean the world. There are always more shadows to explore, more cases to unravel, and I look forward to taking you on our next expedition into the heart of the unknown. Until then, be well.